So guys, at this moment I think you can remember the example I got at the first to give you the idea about inheritance, which was a grandpa and his son and also his grandson. So let's create that one here to get an idea about multi-level inheritance. So let's create some new classes here. So we'll go into this again and let's make another class and we'll name it as grandpa. So here is the grandpa class. So let's get into it and let's give some variables to him. Let's give a surname. Okay, now let's give a surname for grandpa and let's make the constructor for this public grandpa. Here's the constructor. By making the instance, when making the instance, let's pass the argument. For that, let's give this surname as an argument, as a parameter for this constructor. Let's give surname. So we have used capital here, let's use it simple, and let's use this name surname equals s name. Okay. Here also we use capital, so let's use simple here, right? Okay, now we have created the constructor and let's create a method also, public void, and let's give as show grandpa. So let's change the name here. No, let's use grandpa here. Okay, here we created a method here and let's give something like this and let's print surname no, let's get a name is and let's type the name here. So we use surname as the surname. Okay, now we have created the grandpa class here. Now let's create another class here and let's create the class as father. Let's date, and this one is the father class. So in this father class, let's extend father from grandpa, right? But there's an error. So what is this error? Can you guess what is this error? Create a constructor matching super. So we created we'll close these two, the previous ones, vehicle one and car one. Okay. So in grandpa there was a constructor. So the parent class has a constructor and the child class also must have a constructor. So by simply clicking this link, it automatically creates the relevant constructor. So let's give some attributes for father. Let's give it as we can give father and job. So let's give him as string job. So here's the attribute of father, and let's pass it also as a argument string. Let's give job. So we use the same name here. For when we using the same name here, we must use it as this. So by using this super keyword, we can pass this argument, this parameter, for the grandpa class as the sname. For this one, for job, we'll use it as job equals job. But there's a problem. So this job must be this one, and this job must be this one. For that, we can use a keyword called this. Can use a keyword as this dot job. So there's an error in this one, so I have mistakenly used it as capital T. We must use simple T here. This job equals job. Now you can see this one refers for the attribute of this class. So that's a global one, not local for this constructor. So this one is local for this constructor, and this job is not local for this constructor. It is a global one. So now let's make another method for this father class. Let's make it as public void. Let's give it as show job. Now let's give it as shout system.out.println. Let's give job is we have used it here. Job is job. Job is job. So here's the creation of the father class. So now let's make another class for our son. Let's make it as grandchild here. No, let's make it as child. It's easier to clarify child, and let's extend the child from father. Right, there's an error. You know what is the error? It needs a constructor here. So let's create. You can see a constructor was created, string sname, this one for grandpa class. This is multi-level inheritance at this moment. And this one string job, it is for the father class, and we'll make another variable for this student. Let's make something like int age of the student, age of this child, and let's pass that variable also through a parameter. Okay, by using superclass we can transfer this sname and job parameters for superclass of this child. By father class, it uses once again a super one. In father class, you can see it passes this sname to grandpa. So let's code in here, and let's make this age equals age. What age equals what age? The local one must be this one, and this age must be the global one. So let's get it as this dot. Now you can see the colors were changed and colors were equal. And let's create a method for child also. Let's make something like show age. Let's give a out here and let's print age is age. So we have created all the three classes, and now let's move into our main class and let's remove this stuff. We don't need these things. These were the things that we created in our previous activity. Let's clear these things and let's make a object here. What object? Let's create a child object here and let's pass the arguments for this child instance, and let's see whether we can use other methods using a child instance. Let's go and let's make the child. Let's use it as let's use it as student. So the name of this instance is student and it is new child here. Okay, the instance was created and error is there. What is this error? Create signature. Yeah, the error is for asking the arguments. You can see string sname, string job and int age. They are asking for these arguments. So let's pass these arguments here. Let's pass those things as sname. We need a name. We'll pass once again it as John, and we need next one a job. Let's pass the job of father. It is as a doctor, and let's pass a age for the child. Let's give it as 18 years old. So John is the surname. Let's use something different. Let's use White. So White is a surname and doctor is the occupation of the father and 18 is the age of the child. And let's see whether we can access all the methods. Yeah, you can see show grandpa. It is different, so there's a Spanish mistake. Let's get it as show grandpa and let's make it here as show grandpa, and let's see whether we can see the name of the grandpa. Let's run this and see whether we can see. So you can see name is White. By using the grandchild, we have run a method in our grandpa's class. So you know how to get the input for this one. Let's do that one also. Let's get input. You know how we can get an input from the user. We need to create a scan instance here. Scanner, and we need system.in. Okay, and by using this scan, let's get a name. We need a name here, so string name equals scan. Next line, before prompting we need something like please enter. Let's give enter a name, enter a name, and we'll remove this ln part to get all these things in a same line, and let's copy this part here and paste it, and the second argument is enter a job, and we can give it as job here. And let's move into our next line, and we need the age. Let's give it as age here, and let's give this one the name, and job variable is for doctor. We don't need double quotations here because we are using a variable here. This time we need next int here. Okay, this one is a int. Okay, here we need the age. Now let's run it again. So you can see enter a name. Let's enter John here. Yeah, John. Enter a job. Let's give him as an engineer, and enter the age. Age is 14 here. Name is John, and let's access other things here too. Student dot show job, and student dot show age, and let's run it again. So a name is required. Let's give him John, engineer, and let's get age is 14. You can see name is John, job is engineer, and age is 14. So that is what we call multi-level inheritance.